Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar symbol ETH, and we are looking at the short and medium term timeframes as requested by Mr. Orgoth from Germany, and thank you for that, good sir. Anyway, short term timeframes right here. I would be looking at a 4 hour right now, and essentially we do have a bit of a range going on. I suspect that we have pretty much the same things as yesterday, actually, as far as ranging behavior goes. But the question is, does this one bounce from here, or do we actually trade a little bit lower first? As technically speaking, do we actually have a lower low right there? Actually, we do, ever so slightly. I do want to see where this one is on momentum charts first before we go through the general rigmarole here, just out of curiosity. And what do we see? Okay, so Stokes were coming down all the way on the 4 hour alongside volatility throughout this whole little consolidation on this pullback. But this pullback does, at least on first pass, look like it is more or less healthy. Again, whenever we're talking about altcoins, even Ethereum, it's more important to be looking at whatever Bitcoin's doing. They're going to mirror, generally speaking, whatever Bitcoin's going to be doing. However, I would be looking for a short-term bounce on Bitcoin with that in mind. Anyways, this one will turn back up on the 4 hour with any sort of closure above 33.35. Probably not happening on this first closure, but that will naturally come down after the next two hours when we get this next 4 hour closure. Hourly is already twisting up as long as above 31.82. Good. Buy hourly is there as well, 32.02, and 3 hour is going to be trying with any sort of a closure above 31.94. With that in mind, we can go back on over here. And if we do start to play that, I would be looking for another move back around about 32.65 or so. But don't make no mistake about it. This thing's just kind of trading sideways, and I don't really think that there's too many interesting things going on in this one in particular, to be honest with you. Anyways, if we do go over to a 12 hour or daily, of which I would kind of consider these like the more medium-term timeframes right here in comparison to a 4 hour time frame. Let's say that we actually do start to, well, we should just go off of the range analysis right here. Okay, in this case right here, as long as Ethereum is above about 3,100 or so on a 4 hour delta closure, we could even say 3120 on a 4 hour closure or 3,100 on a wick in this case, then I would be looking at this to produce a bit of sideways and very likely an upside resolution. Again, BBWP telling the story in this one, and 4 hour RSI just is essentially rejecting the bearish controls right there. I don't think it's going to be doing all that much, more or less sideways when this range is healthy for the long term, but I suspect a little bit boring in the short term, which I don't know if you're angled towards that or not. I'm curious if we have any sort of bullish divergences on an hourly right here. Yeah, ever so slightly actually. No, actually no, we did make higher lows right there, so technically not. Anyways, going back onto the 4 hour right here. If we were to break below about 3,100, I would look for an extension down around your last actual lows right here, which is all the way down a little bit below 3,000 bucks. So that would be rather concerning if it does choose the bottom side path. But again, know where those ranges are. And to the upside, well, it's pretty much the same thing as yesterday. 33.50 going to be the magical number. Very, very easy to remember on this one. I think the daily also gets this one rather easily as well. If we do see any sort of a downside move anywhere around the 21 exponential average, is going to be an obvious bounce area at the very least on first pass. That's going to be just below 3,100 in this case. So kind of in line, in line with our lower term time frame analysis. And again, where's your last higher low coming in around? 3,000 bucks. So if it actually does start to choose a downside resolution, as we did identify earlier, then that would be very, very concerning with closing, especially a daily below 3,000 bucks. Until that happens, though, I do look at this one as more or less likely to go sideways and probably have an upside resolution. Again, this whole pullback, this whole consolidation is coming on declining volatility. So when you see something like that, and still within the context of higher lows, it's very difficult for me to get like quote unquote bearish on that. Now, if Ethereum does break below 3,000 bucks, which again, I'm not necessarily leaning towards and probably going to be precipitated by Bitcoin anyways, if it is going to happen, then I would be looking for a decent sized pullback all the way down to like 2750 or so, and look for a bounce there and then come back and analysize it later. But again, keeping in mind the 5 day right here, not necessarily bearish on something that looks like that, at least on first pass. 2 day, a little bit concerning right there. Yes. But overall, if you're just focusing on lower term timeframes, I do expect bounce first and more or less sideways for the BULAs with a resolution above 33.50. Now, if you do see the upside resolution, which I don't think would be happening today anyways, or maybe even for that case tomorrow, then I would be looking for a nice leg up actually all the way to 3,600 or so before the next sort of short-term pullback. But right now, sideways at best for the BULAs. If the bears want to take over, you will know below about 3,100 or so, and that's where things start to get a little bit more nasty here. But for what it's worth right now, more or less trades with Bitcoin, and sideways is the name of the game. So hopefully that was helpful, sir.